Hey, it's Mateo of Two Brain Marketing, and on this edition of the Two Brain Marketing Podcast, I'm talking with Dr. Ashley Mak from Hudson River Fitness. This is a very special episode because Ashley and I are actually business partners. We own the gym together, so you'll hear about the ads that I personally run for the gym, and you'll learn how last year we spent around $17,000 on ads and generated close to $90,000 in front-end revenue. So you don't want to miss this. Make sure to subscribe to Two Brain Radio for more marketing tips and secrets each week. Hello, welcome to the Two Brain Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Mateo Lopez. I'm one of the digital marketing mentors at Two Brain Business. Thank you for joining us. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing magic. And in today's episode, we have a very special guest, Ashley Mak from Hudson River Fitness. You're going to learn about his experience and how over the last 6 months, he has spent consistently every month $1,300 on ads and generated $7,500 in front-end sales. So every month he's spending $1,300 and he's generated $7,500 in front-end sales. So we're going to learn about that. And this is going to be a very special episode. I said it already. I'm going to say it again because Ashley and I are business partners. So not only is he the owner of Hudson River Fitness, I'm also a part owner of Hudson River Fitness. So it's going to be really fun, I think, because you're going to learn. I run the ads, so you can hear it from me. And Ashley is the master operator and gym owner, and he's going to be able to walk you through how he takes those leads that I generate for him and turns them into amazing clients. So welcome, Ashley. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Mateo. It's so good to chat with you.
So Ashley and I obviously have known each other for a minute. When did we meet? Tell me about that, Ashley.
Oh, man. It was actually funny because I was talking with my wife about it, and we were like, man, we've known Mateo for a while. I think that we first met in 2014. And
we did.
This is amazing because Mateo actually interviewed at Hudson River CrossFit in 2014, right when he graduated. Well, actually in the process of graduating. And I remember.
Yeah, it was that month I was going to graduate.
Yeah. And I remember we made an immediate connection. I was like, oh, he actually looks like my brother. But then also on the other hand, what really got me to the next level of a friendship with Mateo was that he invited me to his graduation, his commencement. And I was so honored. I really wanted to go, but I had to coach that morning.
Well, that wasn't the whole story. So I came in. Well, first of all, I was checking out the gym and I was like, wow, this team seems to have it going on. It was the first time I'd ever seen a CrossFit. When I go to the About page and see the staff, first time I'd seen, one of the coaches like having a PT on staff. So for those of you who don't know, Ashley is actually Dr. Ashley Mak, DPPTTPTTT. What's the actual title?
Dr. Ashley Mak, PT, DPT, CSCS.
Oh, don't forget about that CSCS. And I remember seeing that and just being like, man, these people are doing something. They're on the cutting edge. They're adding PTs to their staff. It's like, I want to be a part of this team. So I went over and I was supposed to coach a class and, basically get evaluated, see if I was going to be added to the roster. It was my dream job when I saw the application. And I remember Ashley walking me around. You're just like, yeah, man, isn't this awesome? Like I just get to come in here and work out every day. And I just coach for a few hours and man, this is just like so great. And I remember looking at him being like, yeah, it is great. I would like to have that, but yeah, I'm not on the team yet, but thanks for gloating, I guess. But it was great. It was actually between me. I didn't find this out till later. You can find this. It was between me and I think Con Porter. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
It was us two. I didn't know that until after the fact. And for some odd reason, I ended up getting picked. But then Ashley and I, we spent many lunches together, sharing rotisserie chickens from from across the street from A&P, right?
It was our first paleo challenge. It was like the first time ever done paleo. And we lived across the street from an A&P, and we were like, let's just share this chicken like the beasts we are.
Yes, 2014 is when we first met. Ashley, for those I guess people already know, you were on the podcast pretty recently, Talk with Greg, right? You guys were talking about buying out partners. So maybe those listening are familiar, but for those who didn't catch that episode, who are you, where you're from, and what's your business? What's our business, I guess?
Well, I've been a physical therapist since 2012. Got involved with actually coaching CrossFit in 2013. That's actually where I got an opportunity to start working for John Franklin at Hudson River CrossFit. And from 2013 to 2016, pretty much knew the ins and outs when it came to sales, operations, retention. And then at the end of 2016, John and I and Mateo, we were in talks about opening up another place together, in essence, looking for that next step, that leveling up to becoming an actual gym owner. And then we actually, interestingly enough, we signed the lease on the space December 1st, 2016, opened up the doors January 1st, 2017. So the turnaround time was pretty quick.
We did that very quickly. What was the turnaround time there? It was like 2 months, 3 months?
It wasn't even. Like we signed the lease on December. Like we got the keys in December, had everything shipped. Now, granted, that December was also like a big holiday month as well. So that was really interesting. And I remember us, even before we opened up our doors, running some ads and really just focusing on like the pre-sale and the founder stuff. And literally, I don't do this anymore, but when we first opened up the gym, checking my email on Christmas Day, just hoping that someone would sign up. And with the amazing ads that Mateo has created and the way that we were able to really build out the funnel, we were actually able to have a pretty robust opening. But definitely, I believe it was like when we first opened up our doors, we had 50 members already just from the get-go.
Really? I thought it was more. I thought it was 30. It was more than 30?
I think it was more than 30.
I mean, we had right, actually. Yeah.
We had pretty full classes.
And we're going to talk about the founder's sequence in the beginning there in a second here. Tell them a little bit about life prior to opening that gym. We were using a mentoring service, not really a mentoring service. It was before Two Brain. So we were following another methodology of running a gym. And how many hours of personal training were you doing?
I was crushing at least 25 hours a week of personal training on top of the 20 hours of group class that I was coaching as well, and the physical therapy that I was doing. So I was like running 65, 70-hour work weeks, and I was getting into a very, very dark place.
But you were selling all those, right?
I was. And so our process was like we didn't offer free trials. People would come in and they would sit down and would do like a little bit of a fitness evaluation. And then from there, we go through, these are the features of our program. Boom, hit them with the sale of start off with private training. And do you want to know how many private training sessions everyone started off with as like their onboarding?
Well, I know the answer, but you can tell people who are.
Oh, yeah, Mateo knows the answer. I guess it's to you, audience. Well, anyway, I'm going to tell you. We actually started off with 12 one-on-one sessions for private training.
Hour long too, right?
12 1-hour-long private training. I think back at the time, we were looking at, I think it was like $90 a session. So yeah, people signed originally. It was like you come in and then, so not only did they have to put up what 90 times 12 is 1080, right? Yeah, 1080. They put 1080 down, but then they had to commit to a year contract.
Yeah, they committed to one of the contracts that we had. And I was selling all those at Bowery CrossFit, which is the other gym that John, who was our partner in this, that was his second gym. So, and I think this was John's idea, right? He basically figured, wow, Ashley, you're selling so many personal training clients and you're coaching so many hours, might as well start your own gym, right? I'm pretty sure that was the proposal. That was the proposal.
I was getting pretty fried and I was trying to figure out like what's going to happen. And the thing is, like, my personality, like, I am down to grind. I'm down to really put in the hard work. I'm down to put my like to just put the blinders on and just keep pushing. Yeah, I would have to say that if it wasn't to the point where it was like, hey, Ashley, like, you're actually pretty decent at this, how about we open up a gym? I probably would still be doing it until I died.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then John approached, John made the offer to me as well. And we all kind of went in together for this particular gym. And I think what was exciting was, let's talk about that. You brought up the Founders Club sequence. So it was a quick turnaround, right? We basically we basically opened that gym in like 2 months. I mean, we started building out the sequence and working on the operating agreement probably in October of that year.
For sure.
And then we were open in January. So yeah, literally like maybe a little over 2 months. And what was great about that was we all pooled our kind of startup capital together, and we put a lot of that money into the marketing and paid advertising to get a good base of clients before our doors opened. And I remember, so basically the way it worked was we created ads. We said, hey, we've got this exciting facility opening up. We have a great deal for people who, sign up before the doors open. Stay tuned on the email list to learn more. And that's how we basically collected a lot of people on the newsletter. And I don't remember, were you also doing some, intros for people, or we didn't really have time for that?
We didn't have time for that. I would say that I was taking a little bit of a break from that consultative sales aspect just because it was just me.
Right.
I know, like Mateo and John, they were really doing more so the marketing. So when it came to the intake, I just personally wasn't able to handle that consultative process. And that type of volume. Now, granted, like, let's premise with the fact that in Hoboken, New Jersey, we're in a super saturated gym area. There's literally a yoga studio and a spin studio across the street from us. And then 3 blocks away, there's a CrossFit affiliate. And then on that same block, there's a small group and personal training facility. So in our town, there's a ton of options. There's so many options. And so in essence, we had to find a way to just get in front of these people that say the gyms in our area haven't done already.
And so that's why we put a lot of the startup capital towards those ads to get the word out. And I think what helped was, one, Ashley kind of already had a little bit of authority built up in the community, right? It is a smaller town when you compare it to like New York, which is across the river. And Ashley's a doctor. And so we were able to kind of leverage those two things and say, hey, we're going to provide a different training experience, right? The programming is made by a doctor. You will not die or get broken. And the classes are going to be in a smaller, more intimate setting, right? We cap classes at 8. And so that was a big differentiating factor for us. And we made sure that we educated those people who opted in on the newsletter list about that. So I can kind of walk you through this for those listening. That first email is basically hyping up the offer. Hey, this gym's opening up. It's going to be really different than what you've tried before. We've got a doctor in the house. Thanks for taking an interest. We're going to show you how to get in on a super sweet deal if you sign up before the doors open. So stay tuned. The next email in the sequence, John took a lot of time to make sure we crafted out like a really cool biography and story for Ashley, right? So that second email that went out basically talked about Ashley, his story, how, when he was in PT school, he was studying long hours and eating bad food, and, being a swimmer from his college days, like, it wasn't normal for him, right? He was, to be a little bit heavier and not as fit. And then, how he discovered training and CrossFit, it kind of turned everything around. And so we talked about that story, talked about that transformation, and talked about how like that has inspired him to help and heal others. And then the next email were some case studies from his previous clients. Next email, same thing. And then the next email was basically, hey, countdown to our grand opening founders deal, get ready. And then that last email was basically the offer. And we opened up the window to buy for, I think, like 48 hours to create that sense of urgency. And that was it. And then we basically just like put that message out there as much as we could. And we generated, I guess, close to 50 sales and new members before we opened the door.
Yeah. And one of the most important things, especially during that sequence, was now it wasn't just a one-way street when it came to communication. They would get an email, and at that bottom of the email is like questions, reply to this email, and So every inquiry would actually come directly to me, and I would hit them up immediately. Because at the time, like the 2 months leading up to actually open up the doors, I wasn't coaching because I was all really just focusing on getting the gym ready. So I like 100% of my attention was on the lead nurture aspect and getting to the point where, any questions at all, getting them actually into the doors and say, find out when you come in, or really answering any other concerns that they might have.
Yeah. Every one of those emails said, it had a question too, like, hey, well, tell me about your story, or hey, like, where did you used to work out? Reply to this email. I respond to every single email. Like that was a tagline. Like everything had ended with a question and saying like, I respond to every one of these. I will respond. And then Ashley did. And it really worked out. In doing that, we were able to we were in the black pretty soon because we were able to open with, 30, 40 members. And, we were pretty much profitable by that first quarter, right?
Yes, we were able to make some money in the black, and I was able to sleep a lot better the moment we opened up our doors, because I knew that we actually had people who were paying members, and we were able to actually like pay our bills, which was really, really exciting. And so that was really, really cool to see.
And then we basically never turned the ads off from that point on. We changed up the offer. We switched to a 12-week program, like a front-end offer. And then now we're using the 6-week, and we've been using that for probably the past year and a half, 2 years. And pretty much the ads, I go in, I'll change them maybe once every 2 to 3 months. I'll change up some of the imagery or the copy. I'll try video. But really the offer has been the same. It's a 6-week transformation program. These days, I don't even drive to a landing page. We used to, but these days I don't even drive to a landing page. It's all the lead ads. And then Ashley, walk us through, after the lead comes in, what happens?
Right now we use as our CRM software ConvertKit, and it's actually synced up with our ad sequence. So the moment that actually someone clicks on our ad, whether it be learn more or just clicks on it, we'll actually automatically get fed their contact info, which is going to be their name and their phone number. From there, I actually have 2 people who focus on specifically lead nurture. And our plan is that the moment that we get the lead, one of the lead nurture salespeople will actually send them a video text. And this is Kelsey. And so Kelsey will send them a video text message saying, hey, this is Kelsey from Hudson River Fitness. Heard that you were interested about our transformation program. We would love for you to come in and actually meet with one of our coaches for a no sweat intro. So that is their original video message. And then from there, if they don't respond, we then also send them 2 other messages throughout the day. So saying, hey, this is Nelson, or this is Kelsey from Hudson River Fitness, interested in our transformation program. Come and book a no sweat intro with us today. And what we'll do is we'll give them 3 points of contact 3 days in a row. So in total, they'll get 9 touch points, and they'll get this information. And like in addition to that, they'll also be part of the email drip campaign as well, which will really, the biggest focus is driving to booking a no sweat with us.
How did you get them trained up on this process? I know some gym owners are struggling to find that person or struggling to hand off that lead nurture piece. It's very important. It's very important you have someone focusing on this and getting those 9 touch points in. How did you train them up?
Yeah, and I'll tell you that originally when it came to developing the systems and processes in general, that was a weak point of mine, because I'll just give you my personal experience. Like I got out of physical therapy school saying like, I'm the only one person that can do this task. And so that actually like bit me in the butt for a while, because I was doing it and I was like, no one can do lead nurture like I can. But then in order for me to say level up my business and level up myself as a business owner, I understood the importance of having some sort of template. And the thing is that not everything is going to be perfect. And so to understand that and to refine the processes on an ongoing basis, that's what really got me over the hump. But in essence, what I did was really try to outline the moment that a lead was created to the moment they walk into the door for the no sweat. And what did was that not only did I outline that process, but I also created a script saying, hey, this is so-and-so, this is what we're doing. And then from there, if prospect says this, then we respond with why. And we ended up having just a base level structure. And we originally started off with just text messaging. Text messaging was a lot easier because it gives people a little bit more time to think rather than having people to think on their feet, say with a phone call. But as they got more experience, then they got more involved with providing more so phone calls. And then whenever I've also opened up the floor to them saying, if you are ever presented with a question or a problem, obviously bring it up to me. And then once we figure that out, like an example, they're like, people ask if we're CrossFit, and full disclosure guys, we're not a CrossFit affiliate, but what we say is like, we were only presented with that question a few times, but I said, you know what, that means that there's probably a whole bunch of other people thinking the same thing. So I answered the question. I told Kelsey, this is the answer to that response. Add this to the SOP, add this to the script. So then that way, whether it be Kelsey, whether it be Nelson, whether it be anyone on the lead nurture team as we grow, can always refer back to that.
So it's a living document, and basically it's like a decision tree. So if they answer yes or no, say this. If they ask this question, say this. And it's just, like I said, it's a living document. So you're just adding to it as things come up. That's awesome. And you talked about letting go of some of these tasks and realizing, hey, like, going from I'm the only one who knows how to do this to, hey, I need to teach someone, hand this off to someone on how to do this. Is that something that your mentor helped you work through in the incubator?
Yeah, my mentor helped me out with that. And I think one of the big things, and I guess I work hard and I pride myself in my hard work. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned specifically in the incubator is that working hard is good, but it's also working hard on the right tasks and working hard on the right things. And you can't work hard specifically on those higher level roles if those other tasks, other procedures that you're doing, taking up both not just your headspace, but also your energy too. And so I noticed that as I was doing, because pretty much for the first couple months, I was just really getting beaten down. And I said, you know what, this is something I'm gonna have to push through. But the moment that I took a step back with the guidance, with the mentor, I started to notice growth way faster. And growth, not just in revenue, but also the time and freedom for me to be able to address new opportunities to build revenue. And so to be able to focus on different aspects to help my staff grow, because it was a multi-step approach, right? It's like we can have the best marketing, but if we don't have the best lead nurture, we're not going to get people through the door. But also, if we don't have a good sales process, if we don't have a good sales intro. So that was another thing that I had to focus on, was like, no one's going to close sales as good as I could. But then that means that I would have to be at the gym all the time to do no sweats to have the gym grow. And so the moment that I started training both my staff and the lead nurture, started to see people walk through the door. But the moment that the staff were trained in no sweats and knew how to close higher value clients, I started to be able to see, get notifications that the gym was growing, get email after email saying, oh, so-and-so signed up with a high value package. And I didn't know who they were, which was a really exciting point for me, because I was like, okay, here's this system that we have in place to grow the gym. And it was really, really exciting to see that.
Let's talk about that in your own words. What do you sell and how do you sell it?
Yeah, so we sell a lifestyle program which addresses both private training, nutrition coaching, and group fitness to address any sort of goal that you're looking for. And in essence, I joined a networking group, and we do pretty much what we call a 45-second commercial every single week.
Oh, that's awesome.
I also like to tell people that we are the filter in the noisy world of health and fitness.
Ooh, Ashley Mak.
Nice.
That might be the next ad.
Yeah. It's like we're the filter in the noisy world of health and fitness. And so in essence, this really just gives us an opportunity to really figure out how we can really refine that message. And I was able to like truly build that message a little bit more through identifying the problems of our seed clients, of the ones who are the most important to us, the ones who brought the most amount of value, the ones who bring the biggest smiles to our faces, and asking them, because with seed clients and people who we want to bring in more, it's like they don't care about our equipment. They don't care about what type of trading methodology. In essence, they just want to make sure that we can solve their problem, right? And so a bunch of different gyms can say, oh, we're going to help you lose fat. So then we have to dig into it a little bit deeper and figure out, well, what's preventing these people from achieving their goal? And a lot of it is they're scared to start a new program, or they have no idea what to do. They find it so confusing. So all of a sudden we're changing our message to the point where it's like, okay, there's so many choices out there. We're the ones who are going to filter it out and figure out what's going to be the best for you, which then leads on to the no sweat intro with the prescriptive model already built into it.
You're one of the best closers I've ever seen in my life. And I guess I have a couple questions. One, how do you get your staff trained up? How did you get them trained up? I also know you do continuing education and sales training. So walk us through that about your staff, how you got them up to speed, and then what you do to maintain that high level when it comes to selling clients. And then my follow-up question is going to be basically any advice you have for someone who's trying to get better at sales. So those are my two questions. Go.
Yeah. So let's start off with stage. So it's built into 3 stages for this training. And so stage number 1 is, hey, do you want to get involved with sales? And if they say yes, I say, fantastic. Here's this script. Let's just read it through. And we'll actually go through each question. And so I'm going to read these questions out for you right now, AKA I'm not reading it. It's just coming from my head because I'm very proud of my rote memorization. Question number 1 is, what have you heard about our program? And so in essence, what that tells us is a couple different things. It actually tells us what avenue they've heard about us through, whether it be a Facebook ad or just our online presence. But then also 2, they will also tell us what their impression is about us even before they step into the gym. So it helps us figure out what our brand image is. Question number 2, what can we do to help you? And so in essence, it was like a very, very open-ended question in regards to like what they're looking for, but we haven't asked them what their goal is just yet. We just want to be able to build a little bit of rapport. So give you a little bit of their life story, but also that question isn't super in-depth to the point where you're spending 45 minutes to an hour just figuring out who they are as a person. The next question is, what type of fitness programs have worked for you in the past and why did you stop? So in essence, it just gives us a little bit more of an idea of where they're coming from. What I usually tell my coaches is that if they're looking to, say, lose weight and they're coming from a cardio background, they're most likely going to benefit from a resistance training program. So that's just going to be like the easiest thing to associate the pattern with. The next question is, what about nutrition? Have you followed a nutrition program before? Again, it's really just us scratching the surface, getting to know a little bit more. And so all those as well, those couple questions also helps us identify some bright spots as well. Again, bright spots, low incidence gap theory, the closer they are to their goal, the more likely they're going to be achieving it. And so this is an opportunity for us to address those bright spots. We then actually, after that, I get some information from them. We hit them with okay, tell us about your goals. What do you want? So we have some sort of objective measurement. That is also the time that we do take an objective measurement, which is through our in-body. So they'll come in, we'll ask them the questions, what are your goals? And then we'll do an in-body. And then from that in-body, we'll say, okay, this is an explanation of where you're at, and this is where you're going to want to be. And then from there, because the thing is, we want to be able to tap into the emotional aspect of things. And so what we'll ask them is, well, why are these goals so important for you? And interestingly enough, a lot of people aren't prepared to answer that. So I always like to ask that question and just stare at them until they say something. And then if they give me some sort of response that is not good enough for me and not good enough for us to have some sort of an emotional tie, we're just going to ask that why question again. We'll just rephrase it. So it's like, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's like, why do you want to lose 10 pounds? It's like, because I want that number to look better on the scale. Well, why does that number look better on the scale? Because I want to fit into this dress. Why do you want to fit into this dress? Because I want to because I want to feel good in my skin. Boom. We get that intangible, qualitative, emotional type drive. And that's something that we're going to put into our back pocket. And then from there, we also move on to the next question saying, fast forward 3 months, we're making progress towards your goal. What does that feel like to you? So we want to tie that emotion and success to some sort of feeling. So people will be like, I have more energy, my clothes will fit better. Anything that's going to have something that we're not going to be able to truly measure, but something that they're able to feel. again, we're going to be able to keep that into our back pocket. Then the second to last question that we find to be really helpful. Well, the next question is motivational level, scale of 0 to 10. 10 being like, let's get started today. 0 being like, I'm not ready. And I would tell them, if you're not ready, you shouldn't be here. And so already we're identifying the objective. Actually, I learned this from Sherman, the sales guru. He's like, identify the objections before they bring up the objections. And so I really took that to heart, right? And so once we so we have that question, the goal is to make up the difference to a 10. So if they're like, I'm a 7 out of 10, you're like, why are you a 7 out of 10? They're like, I'm concerned with schedule. That's when we're saying, if we create something flexible to your schedule, is this something that you would be interested in? Yes, boom, 10 out of 10, awesome. And then I also like to get them prepared. Really, another way to identify objections, I say, fast forward 3 months from now, we make 0 progress towards your goal. What do you think that's the case? What do you think is holding you back?
Oh, I've never heard that one. I've never heard that one. That's good. So let's say we make 0 progress. Yeah. What do you think is going to be the thing holding you back? Is that the question?
Yeah. And then it's again, identifying their objection. If someone's like, I don't know, we kind of move on. But for the most part, especially if they're going to be investing to a program, they're going to be like, okay, we have to get ourselves planned for failure. I mean, especially if someone's investing a lot, or even just starting a new plan. Anyone who works is going to have to plan for some sort of failure. And so that's going to give us even more of an idea, because it also helps us identify some opportunities too. If they're saying, oh, well, I don't know if like my significant other is going to be supportive of this. This is a perfect opportunity to say, totally get it. How about all 3 of us meet? Because the thing is that, and I think I've seen this in the past, like anyone who's like, I'll be back bus, right? That's always the really tough one, especially with spousal objections. So trying to overcome that immediately before even trying to make the sale is going to be huge. And so again, really identifying objections before they come up so you can already address them. And then the last most important question, and then we save the best for last, is, would you prefer working with a coach on a one-on-one basis or a group basis? And that is probably the most important one when it comes to asking questions in the no sweat, figuring out what they want, how they're going to be the most successful. Because I'll be honest, like for me, I know group training is fun, but I personally, like I own a group fitness facility, but I love private training, like personally.
And we sell a lot of private training too, right?
We sell a lot of private training, yeah. And so a lot of it is just asking them what they want. And interestingly enough, a lot of people it's like you'll have some people say, I just want private training only. And that's awesome. And we just focus on the sales specifically to private training. If the person says, I don't know, I don't really care, then we say, let's just focus on private training first. And if they do ask about group fitness, we then talk about group fitness. If they say, I just want group fitness, we then talk about group fitness, but we already have private training already built in to the program.
Right. They have to do one-on-ones before they go to the group classes anyway.
Correct. Yeah.
And I just wanted to take a moment to pause here and say that's a lot of discovery. We're spending a lot of time in the discovery phase. And I think that is so, I think I've said on here before, that's so crucial to having success in sales, I think, is just spending that time to ask these questions, to get to know them, to build the rapport. And you're putting ammo away, like you said, in your back pocket, because we're handling objections early and we're getting that emotional tie so that we can say, hey, like you said, you really wanted to see this change because of X, Y, and Z. Like this is going to be the way to get there. I think if people are struggling with sales, time out and see how long you're spending in the discovery phase and asking those questions and see if it's taking up most of the time, less time. Chances are you're not spending enough time on that section. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. And if you notice, like when you're, so like that's obviously the process, right? But like one thing when it comes to training is the aspect of role play. Now, in some cases, like your partner has to be a good person at role playing. I remember role playing with John. And I was like, this is the hardest thing ever, but because it was so hard it got me into the salesperson I am. Like it turned me into the salesperson I am today. But like one of the biggest things is like obviously role playing is crucial, but like especially during these no sweats, like what we've been focusing on is trying to talk no more than 90 seconds a piece on our end. If we're talking more than 90 seconds, they're lost, right? And so we're getting a lot of information from them and to be able to put them into the driver's seat. And another thing that I found to be really, really helpful in the sales process is, and I got this from the book, Never Split the Difference, when it comes to like negotiations. And I thought it was really, really powerful. But the thing is that you can have someone say yes, and that's right. But another really powerful acknowledgement of the connection that you're having with a prospect is when they say no. And I'm going to dig like real quick is like, someone's like, I want to lose 15 pounds. And it's like, why? Because I want to feel comfortable in my skin. Okay. And then what I'll usually say is when I want to feel comfortable in my skin, I'll say, do you feel comfortable in your skin right now? And then they're going to say, no, I don't. All of a sudden they're back into the conversation even more because
they're realizing that that's an aha. That's, oh, wow. I'm really not happy or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So hitting it. So going back with a no type of answer gives you an opportunity to them. It breaks the monotony of people saying yes to everything.
That's interesting because often you'll hear the salespeople, you want to get yeses out of them. So by the time you say like, are you ready to sign up? They're just used to saying yes. But I like how that no, though, put in the right place gets them to say, oh, wow, like, yeah, I am not satisfied with where I'm at. I need to do something to change. So I think that's really good. All right. So yeah, we're talking about training the staff now, like, cause that's a lot, right? To get them to understand. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of questions. That's a lot. So I guess what you're saying is one critical piece is role playing. And I think the other thing that you said that I think is crucial is like, you got to have a partner who's going to be tough on you. And I think I know when I was kind of in the staff person role, like I would be intimidated or not want to go. Like this was always uncomfortable. Role playing was uncomfortable. I didn't want to do it against someone who was going to like destroy me with questions like those don't come up. Why are you saying those things? But really that is going to be the difference. If you are struggling with sales, is like you got to role play. And you got to have a partner who's going to be like pretend to be the most difficult person to sell. The more of those you do, and I think having those scenario cards too, that I think you can find those in the Two Brain store, is going to be really critical for getting you up to speed. And then, so how often are you guys role playing?
We're role playing once a week. So we have our staff meeting on Tuesdays. And what we do through our staff meeting, actually at the beginning, we talk about set, show, close rate. So in essence, how many no sweats, but we go by each person. So each person on sale. So it's like how many sales were booked. I mean, how many no sweats were booked, how many actually showed up and what the close rate was. And then right after that, we talk about objections, unique objections. And then we do some role playing. And the thing is like when it comes to sales, just like lifting, it's like you have to get those reps in. And so whether it be someone who's role playing or even doing it in person, that's going to be the key. So we'll role play every single week. We don't have enough time to role play with everyone, but we'll put someone on the spot and say like, sell me a program and walk me through it. And then, so we'll do that. And then what we'll also do is the way that our gym is set up is that our consultation space is also on the gym floor. We're in a 1,500 square foot facility. So like we have this office, but it's an open air office. So while a no sweat is happening, I'll just be somewhere around the gym. Maybe I'll be lifting, but I will be loosely listening in because it'll be two things. It's like, one, it's going to make the coach who's doing the no sweat not nervous, but then also two, the person the prospect doesn't know that someone else is listening in. And that way I can give them also real-time feedback once that is over.
For those of you who don't know, we were just at the Two Brain Summit a couple of weeks ago, and Ashley Mak, you actually won, what was it, the Lifestyle Award?
I won the Owner Lifestyle Award.
So that basically means, from what I understand, it means that Ashley just like takes a lot of vacation and is away from his gym a lot. You just took the founder, farmer, tinker, thief test. You're now at tinker level, I believe.
Yeah.
You're removed from the day-to-day operations. You're home every day for lunch sometimes with Katie when she's around, and you still have time for Xbox and for going to Puerto Rico. And I think you just got accepted into mentor training, correct?
I did. Super pumped about that.
That's amazing. Those of you listening might get to talk to Ashley in a one-on-one call really soon here. What do you think has been the key to your success so far?
The biggest key is that it's never too early to ask for help, and it's never too late to ask for help, and that you can't do this alone. That's the biggest thing, is that if you need help, ask for it, and that you're not alone in this journey, because it gets pretty lonely when you're a business owner. In a way, it's like it's pretty lonely at the top, but also you're not alone in this. And so it's important to be able to understand that so you can get that support, because there's so much information that is out there. Again, there's a lot of noise. And the big challenge is that because there's so much noise, it's hard to figure out what action steps you need to be taking, because you're looking at your business and how it runs from the inside out, and you're going to be missing some things. It happens. But when it comes to asking for help and having someone work with you, they're able to look at it from the outside in and being able to address those things that might actually have the biggest impact on you, but you might not have necessarily noticed because you are so deep into the weeds. Very, very similar to that situation where you're coaching the same athlete for, months or years, and then all of a sudden you have a coach who pops in, and all of a sudden this athlete gets a PR in their snatch. It's not like you're a bad business owner. It's not like you're a bad coach, but it's really the idea of having these guys have an outside perspective and giving you something that's going to be a little different, that's going to be of utmost importance to you.
Just having that extra set of eyeballs, that different point of view, can provide that insight that you're missing if you're just too close.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Ashley, for taking the time to hop on with me. Although Ashley calls me all the time, for those of you who don't know.
All the time. Every single week.
When he's driving, he'll just say like, "Hey, what you doing?" For people who want to talk to you, where can they find you?
Guys out there listening, if you have any questions or concerns, you are more than welcome to email me at ashley.mac@twobrainbusiness.com.
Thanks a lot, Ashley. I'll talk to you in 5 minutes after this.